Mookie Magic! Dodgers have won it all! High fly ball into right field. She is gone! He struck him out! 2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Walk him off. Chris Taylor.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Scott Geirman, senior writer, Dodger Blue. I'm here with my good buddy Blake Williams, managing editor, and a dog. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Had a pretty relaxing day yesterday at Disneyland and ready to get back into it now with the show today.
Busy day for you. Yeah, or yesterday. Yeah, busy one. You were getting I texted you. You were at Disneyland pretty late. You said you got to get it in before while you can. Any highlights so far? Let's get your favorite food thing out of the way so I can just banish that for the rest.
Yeah, the churro with peanut butter, marshmallow, and chocolate. Peak churro, amazing, incredible. I want it again, but the next time I go, it probably won't be there, so sad.
Yeah. Chat, welcome in. We appreciate you. What's up? We're seeing all the chatter. We've got a ton of stuff to get into. Today was an awesome day. I've been dropping to my knees at every single tweet notification regarding Teoscar Hernandez. Chat, it's good to have you. Take a second for us. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Drop a like real quick. Do us a favor. We are going to dive in. We've got a lot from Ken Rosenthal today. He laid some pretty awesome groundwork and gave some incredible insight and maybe some reassurance that Dodgers fans can fall back on, that this front office, and Blake, I want you to add on to this front office is making a complete effort to continue this forward approach. And then not just because things are getting difficult on the Teoscar Hernandez route, they're not solely focused on that. And we'll just dive straight into the first conversation here. Dodgers are focused on Tanner Scott and Devin Williams. The both of them hot names around Major League Baseball as far as, Tanner Scott trade or signing candidate, big contract, big left-handed reliever, one of the only pitchers in Major League Baseball to give Shohei Ohtani absolute fits. So it might be wise of them to bring him in-house. Devin Williams, someone from the Milwaukee Brewers, big right-hander, wicked changeup. He's got the airbender, would have to be acquired via trade. Take it however you'd like it. And if you want me to tee up the Ken Rosenthal stuff, he just said today on Foul Territory that, quote, Ken Rosenthal said, quote, "I expect the Dodgers to get one of Tanner Scott or Devin Williams." Take it away.
Yeah, so my thoughts when I saw that they were in on both of them, I was like, be greedy, go get them both. I think if I had to pick one, I would lean toward Tanner Scott because it's not going to cost you prospects or Gavin Lux or anything like that. But really, either of them would be amazing additions to the bullpen. They're both really, really good relievers, and you could make a case either of them would be the best reliever in the Dodgers bullpen. So it would be a definite upgrade, and I do think they're definitely in on trying to get one of these relievers. I know there's been a lot of talk about how Friedman doesn't like to spend in the bullpen and doesn't prioritize these types of things, but he kind of has done it in the past. He paid Joe Kelly a significant amount of money. They tried to get Aroldis Chapman. That didn't work out. They've paid Kenley Jansen. They've signed Daniel Hudson, Ryan Brazier, Blake Trinan. All of those guys got more than like dumpster dive reliever type thing. So correct. I think they feel like they have such a stacked roster and there's so few ways you can really upgrade it at this point, realistically, that adding another shutdown reliever might be the easiest way to do that. We saw how much they relied on their bullpen in the playoffs already. So if you can add another guy to that group who's going to help shut down opposing lineups, it's a really smart thing to do.
So stay with Tanner Scott for a bit. 30-year-old reliever. The Athletic has him projected on, we'll just get this out of the way. Chat, every site you're going to look at, I would say whether it's the Athletic, whether it's MLB Trade Rumors, a lot of contract predictions have had a lot of variance between. And because of this market, I'm just going to trend towards the high end of every single deal here. I'm going to do it. That's how it is. But, to what Mr. Classic said, Tanner Scott is a very elite reliever. The Athletic has the prediction for Tanner Scott at about 4 years, $64 million. One of the best relievers in Major League Baseball. Is that a price for where this team is at, Blake, that you're willing to go towards?
For a general reliever, I'd say no, but with where the Dodgers are at right now, I think it makes a lot of sense for them. We
Mhm.
saw he gave Shohei troubles. I think if you take him away from an opposing team and Shohei doesn't face him ever again, like that's worth the money in itself. But he's also an elite reliever, and you use him to lock down an opposing lineup. You
Yeah.
make the game that much shorter. If you're running out Evan Phillips, Alex Vesia, Michael Kopech, Tanner Scott, or whoever else, Blake Trinan, like that makes the game really short. And we already know they have an elite starting pitching group. You could win
Mhm.
a lot of games with your high scoring offense and a pitching staff that's not going to allow many runs at all. And even if one or two guys gets hurt, then you still have other options in the mix there. So, like this team, they're willing to spend, they're primed to spend, they have all this deferred money. They're trying to build a dynasty, they're trying to build a super team. We've talked about how much like the window right now is maybe 4 years for peak winning, peak Dodger time right now.
Yeah.
So you go do that, he fits in perfectly to that timeline, and then you're maybe not focused on trying to add a reliever at the trade deadline when the cost goes way up.
Yeah. Chat, I see all the stuff. I like the direction you're going. You've got some awesome viewpoints on some things and some kind of trigger topics. And if the Dodgers go one way, it will trigger another scenario. So I love what you're going with here. But to stay with Tanner Scott, the last 2 seasons, he's held lefties to a 167 batting average, 194 to righties. So he is that guy that can get both sides of the plate out. You will never be concerned with him having significant splits at all. High power at upper 90s fastball, devastating slider. Over the last 2 years, 204 ERA, 188 strikeouts. That's in 150 innings. So when it comes to the stats backing up the production, you're not going to find anyone better. But we know about the track record with Andrew Friedman and paying relievers long, like big time money. I know last year, Blake, when it was getting down towards the back end after the massive signings happened, Otani, Yamamoto, Glasnow extension, Teoscar, stuff like that. When Josh Hader was still unsigned, it was that fun rumor we were kicking around, like, if they can go out and get Josh Hader. But a contract like that, Andrew Friedman has really stayed away from. Are you, your stomach, your gut? What's that telling you about, the history with Andrew Friedman and those long-term contracts? It tells me no, and it tells me that he's going to go the trade route for Devin Williams. That's just what it says to me.
I think generally they've been willing to stay away from paying relievers because they've had other needs on their roster.
Mhm.
Right now, like besides for the corner outfield, they don't really have a need anywhere.
Yeah.
And you're kind of in a position where you can be a little more free spending on a luxury instead of a
A little
need.
silly.
Yeah, like they just won the World Series. They have all that extra money right now. They're making tons of money off Shohei Otani and all the sponsorships and everything. They're not paying Shohei Otani much money right now. So it is the time when you can be a little more free spending on a luxury and less focused on like filling out the roster with things you need, bringing in depth, all that kind of stuff. So I think there is some intrigue to it. Tanner Scott also doesn't have the qualifying offer, so no draft pick
Correct.
attached there. That makes it even more interesting. There may have been some consideration that they went with Blake Snell as their primary target because he didn't have the qualifying offer attached to him. So I think there's some real intrigue there. The problem with trading with the Brewers is they still want to compete. So I
Sure.
don't
Yeah.
think they're going to want like mid-tier or even quality prospects that are far away from the major league level. They're going to want higher end, ready to play now guys. And I'm not sure the Dodgers line up there as much unless you're packaging like Gavin Lux in that deal. And then with Mookie playing shortstop, you're creating a hole at second base. Then you have to end up filling that. And Lux for Devin Williams is probably an overpay already just based on contracts. So I think Tanner Scott is going to be the guy they end up with ultimately, but I do think they end up with one of them regardless.
Which is a good place to be. With Devin Williams, he's in the final year of going into the final year of arbitration. He's projected to earn about $7.7 million. So in terms of cost, what you're getting back, Devin Williams didn't have a good end to his, if he's going to be traded, did not have a good end to his tenure with the Brewers. Really collapsed there in the playoffs. But his airbender, that is a devastating pitch. And if it's just going to cost prospects, I know you're saying that the Brewers are still in win now, but for a relief pitcher going into the final year of arbitration. I don't know what the ceiling for that is. If they're just looking for major league ready guys, I think the Dodgers have a few fringe players. Some, Gavin Lux. I don't know how willing they will to be doing that. I know you've mentioned, off stream that it would create a hole at second base. So it's a whole different thing. I think they could get a package for Devin Williams that they would feel comfortable giving up. But an arm like Tanner Scott, I totally understand where your mind's at. It's someone that at this point, if there was ever anybody to put that kind of silly but very smart money into for a relief pitcher, it would be that. It would be that. Power guy. You don't have to slot him in to the closer role. You can mix him and match him. You can put him where you need him most. So we'll talk about kind of those trigger effects of that. But would a signing like Teoscar Hernandez halt them from doing a deal like that for Tanner Scott or vice versa?
I don't think so. I think they're two very separate areas. They're focused on getting an outfielder and getting a reliever. I don't think one affects the other in the slightest. Maybe if they sign Teoscar more than they're willing to pay, then they say, let's trade for Devin Williams instead. I don't think that'll be the case, but it could be possible just depending on what the contract lands at. But they're pretty focused on getting a reliever and an outfielder, so I expect that to happen regardless of who it ends up being.
I agree with you, man. I think they're in a very unique spot that no team around the league can talk about. I think it was very telling when the Yankees, I think it was Brian Cashman talked about, in the negotiations with Juan Soto and then the Blake Snell, that was all coming to a head. And Cashman said they can't deal with, Juan Soto contract and going with something like with talking about Blake Snell. So the Dodgers are in a unique spot where they can juggle all these things at one time. And the money is something where they'll worry about it. They'll think about it later. If it adds up, it adds up. They're not really too worried about a threshold that they just cannot cross. If it makes the team better, if it's going to push them and it's going to help win them a World Series. To what you said, Blake, like you've been persistent in my ear about they're going to do whatever it takes to win another World Series. If the players are out there and it makes the most sense financially and to what it can boost, that's what they're going to do. So that's how my mind is thinking now. All of these things are in play. Everybody's in play. It's the reason why the Dodgers were in the running for Juan Soto. It's just they did have a ceiling for it. We reports where it was $600 million. Now we're getting into the next tier here. Teoscar Hernandez, that contract, we'll get into it. But to stay with Tanner Scott and Devin Williams, you say Tanner Scott's the name you're going with that they'll ultimately land on. How much does that boost this bullpen? And do you think they'll just slot him into a closer role? Or he'll just be wherever they need him best?
It would definitely upgrade the bullpen to answer that first part. Like, I think we could already say they might have the best bullpen in baseball, and you add him into the mix, and now you definitely have the best bullpen in baseball, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I don't think they'd slot him into a closer role, either one of these guys. I think they'd use him in more of a fireman, wherever we need you type of role. That's what they've been doing with their relievers. Like Evan Phillips got save opportunities, Blake Trinan got save opportunities, Kopech got save opportunities. Bonda and Vesia got save opportunities. I don't think they're going to be mixed. I think they're going to mix and match and not be locked into any one guy. And I think that's what they want to do. That's what they hope to do. And that's what they'll continue to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Devin Williams, just a very intriguing, just to cap off this, intro segment here, chat. Again, welcome in to the over 1,000 in here across all social media, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. We appreciate you. Hit the like button for us. Devin Williams is just very intriguing for what he is. The airbender is just a unique pitch. I would love to see it with the Dodgers. I just say that because until Andrew Friedman signs a reliever to big money, I'll believe it when I see it. So that's where I'm at. So for Blake Williams tonight on Thursday, December 12th, telling me that they're going to open the pocketbook and they're going to bring in Tanner Scott to cap off this dominant bullpen. I like what I'm hearing. So we'll stay tuned. So that's something that, and to what Jeff said, Jeff Spiegel on our staff has talked about and noted and made me aware of it as well. Tanner Scott, and I would say Tanner Scott has been brought up with a number of beat writers, a number of reporters kind of throughout this offseason process. Does that say a lot to you? Is there something to that, or that's just kind of, a rumor or a name that just gets floated around without much behind it? Or do you think that is the thing? That's why is that put more confidence with you? Is that why you're so confident with that?
I think where there's smoke, there's some fire there. And there's been a lot of credible reporters talking about it. I think Fabian Ardaya brought it up. Ken Rosenthal brought it up. I think there was someone else who brought it up. Like, it's just really connected there. I think the Dodgers, like Dave Roberts told us the offseason plan before the offseason even started. He said he wants a starting pitcher. He wants an outfielder, Teoscar back ideally. He wanted Blake Treinen back and another high leverage reliever. He laid it all out. Like, I've been saying they're going to go get another reliever too, because that's what Dave Roberts told us they're going to do. And now we hear that they're connected to two of the top available relievers. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. I think they're really focused on trying to do that. They have to replace the production that they're losing with Brewster Gratterall being out for half the season, if not more. They have to replace Daniel Hudson leaving. So, or retiring, I should say. Joe Kelly's also a free agent, which, yeah, he's had some impact here and there, but pretty inconsistent. But he was also a guy they relied on at points. So I think they're definitely focused on trying to add a reliever. And it wouldn't shock me if Devin Williams is the one they end up going with. But I think at this point, when you can say, like, we have to trade these prospects or players who could help us out this year, or just pay up a little more money, I think they're going to go with the pay more money route.
Can I ask you something, Blake? The Dodgers front office is opportunistic with their signings, and sometimes players just, fall into their lap. Freddie Freeman fell into their lap, and it provided them with an embarrassment of riches, memories, thrust to a World Series title. With kind of those teams that we've seen and kind of heard or have some interest in Tanner Scott, the Cubs, the Padres. What has come out about the Padres is they're looking to shed payroll and honestly not add much of anything. So they're in a tough spot financially. The Chicago Cubs are rumored to be in multiple trades to get rid of, say, a Suzuki, Cody Bellinger, to shed payroll again, kind of retool, shuffle the books a little bit. Could this be a scenario with Tanner Scott, not where they lowball him on a contract? He gets paid what he deserves to be paid, somewhere in that area. But is that a name in Tanner Scott where there's enough need there? For sure. But also that he could fall into the Dodgers' lap, that there's enough where they could open that checkbook for him.
I'm not sure it'll be like fall into their lap like Freddie Freeman did. I think there's always going to be a competitive market for relievers. Like, even with teams trying to shed payroll, there's still other teams out there that need bullpen help. Every team needs bullpen help. Even the Dodgers need bullpen help. And we were just talking about how they might have the best bullpen in baseball. Like, I could see the Mets going out and paying a reliever. I could see the Braves or the Phillies doing it. Like, there's a lot of contenders out there that still need bullpen help. So I think the Dodgers would have to make a really good offer and maybe beat out another team or two to get him. But I do think they're really focused on trying to get one of them. So it adds to my confidence that they end up doing it.
It's a really good point. Yeah, did you bring both of those teams up? Because I think that Edwin Diaz's contract here with the Mets is approaching some option territories, and with the Atlanta Braves, I know Raisel Iglesias' contract, closer as well there, it's coming to an end soon. So there could be a bridge there. So really good point, Mr. Williams, man. It's good to see you. This once a week stuff is bugging me. Usually seeing you 2 times a week on here, and we can just yap it up, but I think we all need a break,
Yeah, I think I'm good seeing you once a week, but we could talk about some 2 times a week, maybe. Depends on news that comes out, though.
You're breaking my heart right now. He said once a week. This is absolute shots fired.
Hey, I already said if the Dodgers got both Devin Williams and Tanner Scott, which they should do both, it would be the second best Scott and Williams combo related to the Dodgers.
Facts. Absolute facts. Yeah, I got cooked. Yeah, he said nah. He said once a week. But yeah, they get both. It'll be the second. Yeah, they will be Tanner Scott and Devin Williams on the Dodgers would be the second best Williams and Scott duo ever. Is right now number 1. Chat, great to see you. This next topic's near and dear. Everybody. It's got us on pins and needles, honestly. It's getting to the territory where there's posturing on both ends. Dodgers possibly have a ceiling of a contract that they're willing to, stick at, not go past. Rumors out that Teoscar doesn't want deferrals. Dodgers don't want to go years. Where is this at, Blake? Kind of walk everybody through and provide chat with either some tranquility, some peace of mind on this, or kind of put them into a little bit of a panic and kind of get their mind thinking that this might not happen, or it's, really on the verge of happening.
I think it's more of Teoscar is going to be back with the Dodgers at some point. I think that's the expectation. among pretty much everyone that's connected to the situation or has any info on it. What kind of deal it ends up being, I think, is still being talked about. Teoscar really wants to return to the Dodgers, and they need an outfielder. They want him back. It makes a lot of sense to get it done. So at some point, it's probably going to get done. But baseball is a business, and the Dodgers seem to have the numbers set in stone that they're willing to go. And it seems like Teoscar wants either more money or more years than what they're offering. And it only takes one team to step up and say, hey, we're willing to do this that you want. And then Teoscar signs with them, and the Dodgers are left looking for someone else. But the expectation still is that Teoscar ends up with the Dodgers. It's the clearest and cleanest fit for both sides. So should get done. But as we know, nothing's official until the pen is on the paper.
Yeah. Ken, to double back, Ken Rosenthal, shout out to him this morning on Dodgers territory or foul territory for putting this out. His quote is, I fully expect Teoscar to be back with the Dodgers, end quote. And I think that there's been enough where I've seen something. I know there was a Phillies beat writer out there said a lot of the same thing. That's an industry belief that Teoscar Hernandez is back with the Dodgers. And it leads us into our first super chat here. Zenji, I just think it's the years. Dodgers not going over 3 years. And this is something that I echoed on Clint Pacias' show on All Dodgers about an hour ago, that I think that the Dodgers are kind of really want to stay on 3 years. And it's something, Blake, that you've been locked in on, that it has everything to do with the years. He's 32 years old. He's a hit profile that, although it is superb right now, it's something that might not age the best. Are you kind of still on that?
Yeah, that's my biggest concern with him. Like, if he left, I would be sad for the year. I think, like, in 2 or 3 years, it's a contract you don't really regret let leave. Power hitters tend not to age well, especially power hitters with low contact rates like he has and high strikeout numbers. Doesn't walk a ton. His defense, he might be the worst defensive outfielder on the market, aside from Jock Peterson, if you even count him as an outfielder at this point. So it's not an ideal profile to sign to a long-term deal at 32 years old already. There's a very, very long list of power hitting players who fall off a cliff pretty quickly when that does happen. And I don't think Teoscar is the type of player who's going to avoid that cliff. So there's concern there for me. I think 3 years is even more than I'd want to go. But in free agency, you have to end up paying a bit more than you're ever comfortable with. So that's probably what it's going to take to get it done. And if there is a team that has an open DH spot, they might be willing to go the 4th year and not have him play the outfield because the defense is pretty bad. And maybe that helps him hold up a little bit longer, but it is all things the Dodgers have to consider, because you're not paying for what he did last year. You're not paying for what he did the years prior. You're paying for the next 3 years, 4 years of the contract. And that's the concern.
So do you have any concerns with money, the financials around his deal? Because of what I spoke about earlier about the variance in contracts so we saw Tyler O'Neill, a bat that we both have liked for a number of years, a profile that we liked. He signed for 3 years, $49.5 million. Teoscar Hernandez, some projections around online. It was like The Athletic, I believe, had him at Teoscar around 3 years, around 60 million. MLB trade rumors talking about 3 years, and I think it was upwards of like 70, something like that. Why is there such a variance in contract offer to Teoscar Hernandez? Why do you think this is the case?
I think a lot of people probably thought his market was going to be overplayed a little bit more when Soto signed, that other teams would see him as a fallback option. I think some places are recognizing the qualifying offer and the age and the declining defense is going to keep his market down a little bit more. So it kind of depends what you're willing to pay and look for. I could see some team valuing him more than another team because they could plug him into their DH spot. But a team that's stuck with him in the outfield might say, your defense is bad. We're not going to pay you this amount of money when you're going to drag some of that offensive profile down with your defense. So I think it's just how people view offense and defense and the total value of a player coming in with different projections, and then how they projected the Soto market and all that. But I personally, I don't care what the AAV is. I care more about the years. I kind of jokingly said, give him 70 million for 2 years and I'm happy. 35 AAV is a ton for him, but you know,
I
you
get it.
don't get
I
stuck with that
understand.
third or fourth year.
I really understand what you're saying, and I do. And chat. This is where kind of what I tweeted out that you have to have a couple days ago. There is a threshold that I understand the front office should not go past. Getting crazy in their spending will cost you a lot on the very back end. Players who don't age well, you'll get in a situation where you're going to have to pay a player who's not very productive. Like the 2019 Nationals, where a lot of the blueprint of stuff like that, Steven Strasburg, totally different scenario. I talked about that on Clint's show. That it's a different thing. Starting pitcher, I understand superstar stuff, big front end of the market, and then Teoscar Hernandez, he's the kind of the class left of the outfield market, and he's chasing every penny he can. And that's why I'm like, it has to be stuff with the, deferrals, the overall value of the contract there, and him trying to get every little bit. Because Blake, do you think that he overplayed his hand at all, Teoscar Hernandez? Do you think it's kind of to that point, and now he's, kind of trying to maneuver contract details out with the Dodgers?
I don't think he overplayed it. There's still teams that could use him and would like to have him. I think if anything, it's more if he wants to stay with the Dodgers and he's just trying to like hold out hope that they end up giving him the deal he wants while he continues to talk to some other clubs.
Yeah.
But I think he's still going to get paid pretty well regardless of where he ends up, whether it's the Dodgers or the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, whoever it might be. Like, I don't think he's going to regret the contract he ends up getting. It's just whether he gets the years that he wants or the total AV, whatever he's specifically looking for in a deal.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't have to get into the things that Teoscar provided the organization with, the moments, the production there. He chose to come to the Dodgers to build his stock heading into a contract year. Chat, do us a favor. If there's anything you want to add in, chime in, drop a super chat in. That's the best way to drive the conversation your way. Let us know what's on your mind there. We've got a couple teed up here. Laura, I see yours here. We're going to get into it. I'll put that in an in-between segment and bring that up for Blake to kind of detail on. But that is the best way. Super chat for us. We appreciate all of you. Over 1,400 and growing here on Thursday. It's great to be in. Blake, any final thoughts with Teoscar while we kind of wait? Do you have any sense that news is going to come out here pretty soon? I know I saw some people joke about a deal kind of breaking while we're on the show tonight. Do you think there is, kind of an end period to this where the Dodgers have to even move on? They have to kind of until we see that it's not over with to bring Teoscar back. But do you think there will be a time period where the Dodgers have to shift gears to another avenue?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a timeline, whatever they're comfortable with. At some point, options are going to start drying up on the trade market, the free agent market, whoever else might be their backup plan. So you got to have other plans in place. And if Teoscar just keeps holding out, then you move on at some point. When that is, maybe like by Christmas at the latest, and then you come back after the holidays and you move on to the next plan. It could probably even be sooner than that. I know a lot of frameworks get done at the winter meetings for different trades and free agent contracts and all that. So we could see something happen in the next week, maybe 2 weeks, which that does bring us to right around Christmas there. So
yeah,
I expect a resolution at some point pretty soon. And then after that, all the focus kind of goes to Hiroki Sasaki.
Yeah, absolutely. Definite. Chad, I want to ask a question. On a 1 to 10, what's kind of everybody tuning in, what's your gut feeling telling you about is Teoscar going to sign back? 1 to 10. Toss those in there while we transition here to our next segment. 1 to 10. How are you feeling about Teoscar coming back? I know there's some posturing on both sides. There's some rumors out. I know David Vassay a few days ago, I think it was on the 4th, he said the Dodgers were hammering out some details. But the longer that this goes on, for sure, like the less there is about it, makes you worried. And I know, Blake, I told you I won't be too beat up about it if he goes and signs a contract that the Dodgers just weren't going to reach. I will, just like you said, it will suck. It will definitely suck because he's a beloved player. He's someone who was instrumental to their postseason run. He definitely was someone I don't want to see the Dodgers without. And I understand how much he meant to the team, but there is a threshold. And it definitely has everything to do with years here. And is the money going to be present day value? It's going to be pushed off. I know Teoscar accepted deferrals in his contract in 2024 with the team and possibly doesn't want to do it again. To what DM24 just said, just want to get it done. I just want to get it done. And as somebody else brought up, and we all know this is his opportunity to get that big payday. So I respect that he's doing it. I just hope that the Dodgers don't reach a breaking point where they're saying, we've got to move on. We've got to move on and go to other avenues here. Because if they know that, say, Teoscar doesn't come back, Tyler O'Neill would have been a great pivot point, but he's off the market now. And then you're getting into other opportunity or other guys like Randall Grichuk, a trade for Taylor Ward, going out and doing other things. Is there any name that we should take note of here? You can bring up Kyle Tucker. That's another big topic.
Kind of the next segment now.
Huh?
Kind of the next segment here.
We got in the next segment here. I just want you to think about it for the moment. Keep it in your mind. Okay. Keep it in mind, and then we'll get to it. Laura puts us up. I don't understand how the Padres Dodgers are the front runners for Sasaki. She's probably saying Padres over Dodgers if the Padres are in financial constraints. Why would Sasaki go there? You can answer this one pretty easy.
I mean, for Sasaki specifically, the money doesn't matter. Every team's capped out at the amount they can actually offer. If we're talking about the future of the Padres financials, where they have to cut payroll and probably not going to be in a great situation for the next few years, like, I get it. There's some belief to that. The Padres have done pretty well recently constructing a roster, though. So, I mean, the Dodgers should be the favorites. They have everything he wants, allegedly, and they've won a lot. They have the pitching development. They have other star Japanese players. Like, I don't see any other team being a better fit for him, but we also fully don't know what Sasaki wants. And if he's friends with Yu Darvish, so maybe he wants to go play with them. He's friends with Yamamoto and Ohtani. Maybe he wants to play with them. Maybe he doesn't want to play with another Japanese player, because that has been a thing historically, that Japanese players, when they come here, they want to play on a team where they can be the lone Japanese player. So we don't fully know. There's a lot of speculation about what he wants and everything. I wouldn't fully believe anyone who says, like, this team is absolutely 100% favored. Like, we're all kind of just making guesses here. Even with everything I'm saying, it's more of an educated guess than anything specific. So we don't really know.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see. It will be the 2025 period. I don't see anything happening here. And I think the cutoff is on the 14th, I believe, for the 2024 international signing period. And then there is a pause. There is kind of a period where teams cannot negotiate. I wrote an article about it, I think a couple of days ago, about the whole process there. It's up on our website, DodgerBlue.com. So everybody check that out if you want any important dates there. But Jeff spoke with Lance Bresdowski, and he kind of said that he doesn't believe that Sasaki will be a Dodger. He goes, I think it'll be somebody random. He said, like, the Mariners, or it'll be somebody like the Guardians, teams that can develop pitching, and Dodgers can develop pitching there. But if that's an avenue we've talked about with other guys, that you want to build up your stock, you want the best way to build kind of yourself as a well-rounded pitcher. So I could definitely see it. I just think there's too much smoke, and I think it'll just wind up being with the Dodgers. That's where I'm just going to stick at it. You believe that? You agree with that?
I think Daniel said this on the last stream when they were talking about it, and I agree with it. I would take the Dodgers over any specific team you laid out, but I would take the field over the Dodgers. So if you're saying the Dodgers versus all 29 teams, I'm giving the edge to the 29 teams there. If you're saying the Dodgers versus the Padres, the Dodgers versus the Yankees versus the Mariners, whoever it is, I would take the Dodgers with the edge.
Yeah, definitely understand. Mike says this here real quick. Friedman has been scouting Sasaki since he was 18. Yeah, Andrew Friedman in the Dodgers front office has for sure been very active on that front of going out and meeting with him and seeing him in person a number of times. This has been a long process. So the Dodgers have had their presence heavily known with Sasaki and his representation there since he was 18 years old, since he was a kid. That's a big deal. I think that's a big deal. It's fairly significant. So, but I understand that. Take the field over the Dodgers as the set thing, but to the money, it's all relative. Everybody's kind of capped on what they can spend there. Kevin, We're going to take this super chat here, and it's going to lead us into our next segment here. Kevin Brown, W pitcher, who's starting the season for us in right field. And that just takes us right into this. Dodgers are keeping their options open in the outfield. Talk us through it, man. You already hear me. I'm on my knees. I'm on my knees. I'll be in Target if bad news happens, and I'll just fall down if it's not Teoscar to the Dodgers. So they're keeping their options open. Andrew Friedman spoke about this, that they're exploring different avenues here. Kind of shed some light on this, Blake. Where do they go from here?
Yeah, so I still think Teoscar is the right fielder on opening day. I'll say that. I'm pretty confident in that still, regardless of everything that comes out. On the other hand, Andrew Friedman said they have other options. They can go get someone with more contact. They could go get someone with more defensive ability.
Yeah.
They have a number of different ways they could kind of construct the team. You're not locked into any one specific player. Like, Teoscar's power is great, but if they go upgrade with someone who's a better defender with some less power, you're still getting value out of that player, just not from the same area that Teoscar brought that value. So they're keeping their options open. They have numerous different things they could do. They're looking at all the options, figuring out what else fits, what their backup plans are. I still think Teoscar is the favorite to come back. I still think he's the guy they want back, but it's a business and you got to keep the other options open.
Kind of what's the plan for, and we haven't even spoke about Michael Conforto. It's our first time being on here, being able to chat about him since he was signed to the Dodgers. I believe it was 1 year, 17 million. Is that correct? Yeah. 1 year, 17 million. That was over some market projections here as far as a 1 year deal, but it kind of follows the trend as far as, the market. It's up. They're up. And this is exactly what I love to see. Players getting paid. This is how I want it. Everybody should be getting their piece of the pie. That's just how it is. So Conforto, yeah, Kenny. Conforto is a solid player. Splits on the away side when he was with the Giants this past year were fairly significant. What are you expecting from Michael Conforto? And is he a set it and forget it platoon guy? But as I see it, he has the ability to play both sides. Like, he can hit it righties, he can hit lefties, because his data against lefties is really good. He's hit for much more average against lefties, regardless of home or away splits. Kind of what do you see from Michael Conforto?
I think it's going to be a similar situation to Muncy, where he plays most of the time, but maybe against lefties, he sits like 40% of the time. If there's a really tough lefty in there, you give Conforto the day, get Andy Pajas in there. Like, they don't have to platoon him, but it could be beneficial if they do. He's been kind of inconsistent with his splits. Sometimes he's hit lefties really well, other times not so much. His entire career, it's worked out to about league average for his lefty. So he's not a guy you really have to worry about too much there against a lefty, but they'd probably also benefit from him not playing every day versus a lefty. So I think it's really going to be like that Muncy situation where he still starts most of the time versus lefties, but a lot of times you get him the day off there.
What a dog, man. I was like, Blake, I got to fact check you on this. Yeah, spot on. His numbers this last year against lefties were the best of his career, or tied to his 2020 average. Shortened season there. But as far as WRC plus, full 162, best of his career. 145 WRC plus versus lefties in the same handed matchup there. So I like it a lot. Underlying metrics for Michael Conforto were stuff that were pretty eyebrow raising. I was very happy with the signing. I know it kind of shocked a lot of people for him to get 17 million. And we're like, was this the signing? Tommy Edman playing center field for the majority of the reps, correct? We can kind of lock that in.
As of right now for the regular season, I wouldn't be surprised if Pajas ends up platooning with Lux essentially, and versus a lefty, Tommy Edman slides into play second base, and they put Pajas in center field, and then they have Lux versus a righty with Edman in center field versus a righty. I could definitely see it playing out like that, especially if they're not going to platoon Conforto to a full extent. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of the route they go, because you need Pajas to get at bats versus lefties, and that's probably the best way to do it. You could mix in Miguel Rojas sometimes to get him in there for Lux as well, and then give Conforto those days off with Pajas. But I think right now for the regular season, it makes the most sense to go with the platooning Pages and Lux route.
Are you in the camp that thinks that whoever the Dodgers go after, like on the same train of Teoscar Hernandez, same line, they will need one more outfielder? And does that outfielder have to be right-handed?
Probably. I think they have a good group there. I mean, Conforto left-handed, Edman switch, Pages right. So, like, specifically in the outfield, you could kind of do whatever, but they have so many lefty bats already. I think they need a righty bat for the middle of their order. Like, you already have Muncy, Freeman, Ohtani. You could mix in a righty there with Mookie. Hopefully Will Smith bounces back, and then it doesn't matter as much, but he's been so inconsistent for pretty much every year now with the first half of the season, second half of the season. I think they could still benefit from a righty bat.
So right now they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties in a lineup that, with Gavin Lux in there playing second base, Conforto in there, Max Muncy, Freeman, Ohtani. 5 out of your 9 left-handed hitters. So I agree with you. I think Conforto stays in there. I don't think he's platooned. I think they believe in those splits that he's got, that he'll be just fine. I like it. Teoscar fixes that problem. But as far as the options around it, I agree with you with Andy Pages. I think he's someone that needs the reps. You've got to do it. And what I was speaking with Clint Pasillas on his show is that the reason why I don't go out and if they're going to get an upgrade aside from Teoscar Hernandez, I would prefer it to be, somebody. I would honestly I would rather them go get someone who plays every day. I don't want them to go get like a Tommy Pham or, Randall Grichuk or Ramon Laureano. Randall Grichuk's probably on the high end of that, but I don't want them to go, someone that has a very low floor is my point. I would prefer them to kind of have that interchangeability, the ability to bring in, a minor league guy or someone that you can just easily kind of fade them out and kind of go that route. You kind of agree with that?
Yeah, if they were going to go with like the lower tier route, I'd just give Pages the starting everyday job there instead of looking for a real upgrade. I like Pages more in the platoon, fourth outfielder type role, but if he was your starting everyday guy instead of someone like Randall Grichuk, who also needs to platoon, or anyone else you name, like, I just don't see it making a whole lot of sense there. So I would definitely be looking more at the top tier upgrades. And if you want me to throw some names out, I can.
Let's do it. I was just about to ask. Go ahead, Blake.
My top fallback option is Seiya Suzuki if the Cubs are trying to trade him. I think he fits incredibly well, about average defense, really good bat. Less power than Teoscar, but still 20 homer power, higher contact rates. So I think he would fit in pretty well. Taylor Ward is another guy they've had interest in the past. Yep. Angels are supposedly open to moving him. Not sure if they'd trade him to the Dodgers, but it is a name to keep in mind. Dream scenario, which I don't think will happen, is going to be Kyle Tucker, just because he's out there on the trade market, but it seems like the Cubs are willing to overpay a lot for him with potentially Suzuki in that deal, so we'll see how that all shapes out. But those are the 3 main guys I'd keep an eye on right now. I know a lot of people have talked about Bellinger. I don't really see that one happening right now unless like it's a swap with Chris Taylor and maybe some other prospect, but
make the money work.
Yeah, I don't think, like, he's not the middle of the order bat we're talking about. He's a 700 OPS guy with good defense, but I mean, that is part of keeping their options open if they upgrade the defense, like it's bringing value, but it's not the middle of the order bat we're hoping for. So there's options out there. There's probably some other guy that they're talking about we haven't even thought of. Like Luis Robert could still be a guy that they're interested in, another righty power bat. He's a high risk, high reward type player that the Dodgers do seem to value. So there's guys out there. I mean, Joey Gallo, I'll throw him out there. Just kidding, everyone.
Randall Grichuk, Dylan Carlson, some names like that. But but it's what I'm talking about. And GI puts it up here. I'll get to that in a second. Hep puts it up. Just bring back Teoscar and call it a day. That's kind of where I'm at. That's really where I'm at. Do that, call it a day, but understand that there's a threshold not to go past. I'll be upset if it has everything to do with just the deferred money. Like if that's the part that the Dodgers won't budge on, you got enough stuff on layaway, guys. Let's just do it for the next couple years. Make it happen. But what?
Can
What are
the
you grinning
troll
at?
in me is saying Profar? Teoscar
Oh, we're
goes
not
somewhere
doing
else.
pro.
Do you bring in Profar? I
Somebody,
think that
did
would
you
be
bring a
really
profile?
funny.
Did you
I
slip
saw
that
it
in there?
I saw it in the chat. People were talking about it, and that would be pretty funny.
Ah, that would collapse. That'd be just so bad. That'd be so bad.
Like if
GI
Teoscar goes to
said,
the
where
Red
is it
Sox,
at here? Hold on. GI, where are you, man? Where'd you just put it up? Missed it. There we go. He says, no more love for Tommy Pham. It's what I talked with Clint about. That ship sailed last year. Like if they were going to do that going into 2024, but they aimed high. We expected them to kind of aim low to fill that void. And Tommy Pham fit the need for the moment, but they aimed high and Teoscar Hernandez wanted to be a Dodger. But what, like Tommy Pham? Any thoughts on that?
no,
Thoughts?
that's not happening at this point anymore.
No thoughts, no vibes for Tommy Pham?
My thought is it's not happening.
Yeah. There's no spot for Tommy Pham anymore. Ship sailed. We got too many DMs. I got too many DMs about him being mad over fantasy football, and people didn't want him. So you guys all sold me on that. Too much. I had nothing left. I couldn't fight all of you. Wasn't going to happen. Tommy Pham ship has sailed. Who's your number one, aside from Teoscar Hernandez and not Kyle Tucker?
Say a Suzuki.
Bingo. So I agree with you there. If the Cubs are willing to part with Seiya Suzuki, he's owed $19 million this upcoming year. He's got $19 million for 2026. If they are willing to pick up some of that cash, now we're talking. You'd be willing to give up a package to bring that in?
Yeah.
What would a package? How high? You don't have to name names. Like 1 to 10. How high are you willing to go on a package for him? All depends on the cash. But are you willing to include some names where it'll kind of shock some people?
I don't know if shock is the right word. I think it would be like a 6 or 7 value wise. The Cubs probably want to dump a little more payroll than like get the best players back that they can. But
yeah,
it seems like from everything we heard, say as part of a deal for Tucker. So until we have more clarity on that, it's hard to fully say because I don't think the Dodgers are beating that proposed package. And both the targets we have in mind are involved in that. So it's really hard to say.
Man, I would love some Kyle Tucker on the Dodgers. He's a stud, man.
If you get a 1 year like stopgap option playing for Tucker next year, I'm not mad.
Yeah, whatever. If that's the route they go and you just say all in, but Astros don't sign players to those long-term contracts that they're going to get. So, yeah, I love Kyle Tucker, man. He's a terrific player, an amazing talent, absolute amazing talent. Steals bags too, major toolsy type of player. He's a lunch pail guy, Blake.
You just like his swing on MLB The Show.
Correct. He's a dog, man. He's an absolute dog. Lunch pail guy, first in, last out. Yeah. Good heartbeat. Got a couple super chats here. Here we go. Zip code 0. Brandon, I see yours. I'll bring it up in just a second, man. Zip code 0. Is Santander a consideration? We didn't talk Anthony Santander at all. Is there a reason for that? Or is that just kind of he's an older player and someone who just had a career year? I know where I'd go with that, but what about you?
I don't love the player all that much. I think he's really similar to like guys that they already have, so I'd stay away from him there. I think there's also a report he wanted a 6-year deal, which not happening with the Dodgers, so he could be a fallback option. Maybe if his market doesn't develop, they do like the 1-year type thing they did with Teoscar, but
yeah,
I just don't really see that happening. I think he's going to stay in the AL East.
Big homer guy. Dating back from 2022, we'll just go 2022, 2023, 2024. 33 homers, 28 and 44 home runs this last year with the Baltimore Orioles. But I don't know, what's his strikeout rate? Have to pull that up, but I don't know. He's flying under the radar and with a lot of people here, and he's going to get some money. He'll get more money in a longer deal than Teoscar Hernandez just because he's 2 years younger. Not a high batting average guy, not a big contact guy, but when he makes contact, it's loud. So there is the interest there on that front. He's going to provide pop. He can hit in a heart of an order. What else you got?
He's kind of like Max Muncy in a sense with a lower walk rate, which is why I don't really see him as a huge fit. They already have Max Muncy with a better walk rate. And if he really does want a 6-year deal, like I just don't see the Dodgers going there. But if they could get him on a reasonable deal, I wouldn't mind it. I'd probably be happy with it. I just don't think it's all that realistic.
Yeah. Laura, Anthony Santander is 30 years old. So that's the reason for it. We've seen it. The name of the game is if you're in free agency and your age lines up, that's a good place to be. That will earn you more cash. Players want to hit free agency as fast as they can, and this is the time to do it. Get as much as you can. To what Blake said earlier, players will get paid this offseason. This is just where it will happen. Like some team out there will have a need for it. We might see some names get lost in the shuffle and get pushed towards the back end of the offseason, and they'll lose some value there because teams just have to move on. So Teoscar Hernandez is going to be setting a market here. And I think unless Santander comes out of nowhere and signs the deal, Teoscar Hernandez is probably the next pillar to fall for sure. Definitely. That's why the Orioles jumping on, Tyler O'Neill was such a big deal. I thought that move came out of nowhere. That was good for them to get that 16.5 AAV for what Tyler O'Neill brings. I know there's injury concerns, but it's a great AAV to have. What are you laughing about again? Chat, you guys are funny. You guys making Blake laugh like crazy.
We got breaking news finally on our show of Astrobot winning Game of the Year. That's the breaking news we all wanted, right?
Couldn't tell you.
It's a good game.
I have known about this?
I mean, I've been playing it. It's fun. I wouldn't say Game of the Year, but it's a well-made game. It's fun.
I've been playing Indiana Jones.
I did too. A bit.
Quality game. Mike says Lance Lynn just gave up a home run. Thoughts?
Probably. I was going to say Matt's still stuck playing Halo 3 right now.
When are you going to get owned on MLB The Show, man?
When we're out of content, when the off-season dies down fully, then we'll get our show streaming on.
Okay, cool. All right. Brandon says this. We trade Lux to bring in Devin Williams. Could the Dodgers explore a trade for Arenado since he stated he's open to a position change? Slot him at second. Absolutely not.
Arenado is not playing second base. If anything, it would be Max Muncy playing second base. I also don't see that happening because Arenado is not all that good of a player anymore. He has significantly declined. The bat just isn't there. The power is dropping. The contact rates are dropping. He still owed a lot of money for a long time. His contract is deferred until like 2040 something.
Yeah.
So it's just not happening.
Can you explain to us in football terms what Arenado playing second base would be like?
It's a good one. I got to think of a Rams player, I guess, right? Because I guess like Matthew Stafford. No,
could be.
I don't know.
Kyron Williams, defensive back.
Kyron Williams playing safety.
Athletic, but out of place.
I feel like he could like handle it.
I stumped
there.
Blake. Did I just get him? I mean, I think
it's such a ridiculous question.
I think I did. Brandon, we appreciate that super chat, man. Thank you for all your support. Over 1,800 in here. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome tonight. Don't worry, we're not done yet. I'm not kicking you guys out of here just yet. What's your gut telling you, man? Give me some peace of mind here. It's cardio day. I need something on my mind about Teoscar Hernandez while I, torture myself.
I already told you he's going to the Blue Jays.
All right.
I'm just trolling Scott. I think Teoscar's back, but don't tell Scott that.
All right. I'll plug my ears there. All right. Hot topic. Another one. Walker Buehler. Reports are that he's looking for a long-term deal. Good for him. Very happy for him. I'll get that out of the way. Very happy for Walker Buehler chasing all the dollars. Get them all. Do you think Walker Buehler gets a deal over 3 years?
I think 3 is probably the sweet spot for him. That's where a lot of starters have getting paid around that range this year. Mm-hmm. I think he's definitely gone. I don't think the Dodgers re-sign him. And I think another team overpays him a bit to get him in. What that team is, I don't know. His market is kind of heated up a bit. Like the Red Sox, the Tigers, the Giants, the Mets. a lot of teams have been checking in on him, so we'll see. The A's checked in on him, but he said, I'm not playing in Sacramento. So, yeah, I mean, he wants a long-term deal with some flexibility, opt-out, stuff like that. I think he's going to get it.
Man, when I saw Shane Bieber's 1-1 deal, I would have loved that contract so much. I don't think it's what Walker Buehler will get. I think there are teams on the East Coast that will do it. I think I heard the Mets, and I was like, the Mets need pitching. East Coast stuff, like, I don't know how much there is behind, probably a good bit behind the colder weather thing. Him pitching well down the stretch in colder weather in the postseason, especially. That would be a great spot for him. That would stink. I'm not going to say good things about it aside from him just getting paid. This is his opportunity here. But yes, there are available options and available teams out there that will give Walker Buehler a few guaranteed years. I definitely believe it. And I'm with Blake. I don't believe Walker Buehler will be back. I just don't. Do you think they're done with the starting pitching market, though? Do you think they're going to attack one more starting pitcher?
I mean, they've already told us Sasaki is a priority for them, so they're going to try hard there.
Right there?
Kershaw coming back if we're counting him. I think they could still look for like a middle to low tier type arm. Maybe like someone they've done in the past, like Tyler Anderson, James Paxton, Noah Syndergaard, those type.
Yeah.
We think there's some upside there, so we're going to give them a 1-year deal, and hopefully it works out. Might not work out like we saw with Syndergaard. Has worked out like we saw with Tyler Anderson, but I think they're going to be looking for that type of pitcher, but someone who, like, you don't have to absolutely plug him into your rotation.
I'm just going to put this up because I've seen it quite a few times here. Like, multiple other people have said it, and I don't know what this means, but the info is, I think I've seen it in chat like 10, 12 times already. People wanting to trade James Outman, Gavin Lux, and Michael Grove. Can you just speak to this for a second, Blake? What about who of those is gone?
I think Outman has the highest chance of being traded, but they could also keep him around as like a bench guy, fifth outfielder type thing. Michael Grove, I feel like he'll stay just as bullpen depth. They do seem to like him, and he has some intriguing characteristics. He just hasn't put it all together yet. And with Gavin Lux, I think he's kind of locked into their starting second base job. I think that happened when Mookie Betts was set to play shortstop, so I don't think Lux gets traded at this point, but if the right deal comes up, I don't think they'd hesitate to trade him too much either.
Can you do me a favor? I like what we were texting about this. Gavin Lux, if Gavin Lux leaves, that creates a hole at second base. Can you kind of talk me through that a bit? I mean, it's obvious that it have one less player there, but what's kind of an issue that it would create?
I mean, who would be playing second base if you trade him? Then you move in Mookie Betts over, then who's your shortstop? Miguel Rojas can't handle an everyday role. You move Tommy Edman into shortstop, who's your center fielder.
Yep.
It just kind of creates a domino effect there. So unless they have another target in mind, like they want to bring in Luis Robert or they want to go get Gleyber Torres or something like that, then it's kind of tough to trade Lux because you don't really have another option to replace him. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Just so I can put it in people's mind about Gavin Lux. I keep seeing stuff about it. He's sticking around unless they will shock me and go from that way. So Chad, you guys are funny and keep bringing that up. So I wanted to put some reason there. We're going to give Dave Roberts some flowers here, Blake. What did he win today?
Yeah, he was named the Baseball America Manager of the Year for 2024. He was not a finalist for the BBWA awards, unsurprisingly, I guess. He should have won, and he should have been at least in the top 3, but he was not. So credit to him. He was recognized by Baseball America. And I believe they weigh the postseason into that. Well, the BBWA does not do that. Mm-hmm. So makes sense. I mean, Dave Roberts was the best manager in baseball this year, and he earned it.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Dave. He's a dog. Lifetime deal. When does that get done? Not a lifetime deal. When does that extension happen?
I would say like January, mid to late January, after their roster is all set and everything. Like, it's not a huge priority to get it done at this point because they have their other needs, but they will get it done.
Yeah. All right, chat. This is your time. Toss in the questions, as many as you want. I'm not going to say I'm going to answer them all. I'm going to get to them. Get to as many as I can. We appreciate you. Almost 2,000 in here tonight across all social media. Blake and I greatly appreciate you all. Thanks for supporting Dodger Blue, all the offseason stuff here. We've got a couple super chats to go through real fast. Laura puts us in here. What are your thoughts about Sandy Alcantara rumors? I know I was watching MLB Network earlier and they just floated a name, like his name out there. And I know the Marlins probably would have some motivation to trade him. I know he's coming back from Tommy John surgery. Thoughts on Sandy Alcantara? Would he be an intriguing guy, or is he just someone that it'd be more to write that and see, him through his post Tommy John surgery and the rehab process there and building up again to, the top end starting pitcher? Do you think that's just more work, or is there a lot of intrigue on your end?
It's intriguing, but I don't think it's something the Dodgers are really looking into, or they have a lot of guys coming off injuries and stuff that they have to manage already. I think they might prefer someone a little safer if they're going to get another starting pitcher. Like, we know Kershaw's coming back. He has the injury issues, Glasnow injury issues. Yamamoto dealt with the injuries last year. Dustin May and Tony Gonsolin coming off injuries from last year. So adding another guy to that mix is just a tough sell, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Kick it off with, this is one I want you to answer too. Wayne says, is CT3 on the opening day active roster?
Yes.
Why? What didn't happen?
They didn't trade him because no one wanted the contract. There is no one that made sense for a salary dump. They like Chris Taylor as a person and clubhouse guy, and someone else got hurt and wasn't ready for opening day, so Chris Taylor was the lucky man to make the roster.
Yeah, I got you. Let's hear 300 with a super chat. Thank you so much. Good to see you tonight, man. Thanks for the $2 super chat. Charlie Morton as an option. I love Charlie Morton. He's like one of the ageless wonders. Let me pull him up here. He is 41. So he's pitching at a high level for his age here. Like 2024, he had a 4.19 ERA, so nothing unbelievable, but he's still a guy that can get you some innings here. He made 30 starts last year. He's made over 30 starts in every single full season dating back to 2018. So someone who's going to go out there and give you innings. So I know Spot Track has his market value at like 1 year, $17.5 million. Dodgers willing to go that route for 1 year, $17.5 million for Charlie Morton to guarantee yourself 30 starts at the back end? Or do you think that role can be filled with like Kershaw and then, some of the other guys here, Landon Knack?
I don't think Kershaw's filling that 30 starts a year role.
I know that. I'm saying like a mixture.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind him just as an innings eater, but I don't think he's going to want to relocate to the West Coast at probably the end of his career here. I think that's pretty safe to say. And I don't see a whole lot of upside besides eating inning there. And like the difference between him and Landon Knack, probably if you're just eating innings, probably won't be too significant. So I think they just stick with the internal options there. But if they did bring him in 1 year deal, I wouldn't mind it. 5th or 6th starter type thing.
He's a Brave. That's just what I see. I don't think he goes anywhere. DM, I saw people saying you had a good question. I must have missed it. Put that back in here. I missed it. It's too far up already. I just repost that. See if Blake can snag it while I put another question up here.
Who is it from?
DM 24. Yeah, see if he puts it back up. Let's hear Zenji with another one. Who has a breakout year and hits 20 plus homers in 2025? Andy Pajes, Dalton Rushing, or Tommy Edman?
I'd say Pajes. He's got the most power out of those guys with a defined role. So I would say him.
I agree with you. What's the most Tommy Edman's hit in a single season?
I want to say 13. Like 14. Yeah.
13. He did that in 2022 and 2023. If Tommy Edman comes out and hits 20 plus tanks in 2025, we're building the statue. I'm building it myself. with Dodger funds. That's a lot. Like him going from 13 to 20 plus, that's a breakout year. But I agree with Blake. Andy Paez, like he could put him in bunches. They both can. But I believe Andy Paez of that group right there. Dalton Rushing's an interesting name. What do you think his role, while we're on it, what do you think his role is for 2025? I know what you said about you don't like the Dodgers generally don't go ahead with a rookie on opening day as your first taste. They'll kind of ease you into that. But what's your outlook for Dalton Rushing in 2025?
He'll be called up at some point and get a chance to contribute. I don't think they're going to ever put him in a prominent role this year, but he could mix around as a backup outfielder, platoon option, backup catcher, platoon with Will Smith kind of thing. Maybe a little first base if they want to like protect Freddie a little bit more after he basically broke every bone in his body last year. So yeah, I think he'll kind of move around the field a bit and he'll be up at some point. I think it's a lock. He's called up at some point. I don't think it's like, will he be? It's a question of when is he going to be? So at some point when someone gets hurt, when they need someone on their roster, like he'll be up.
Yeah. DM, is this one you put up here? You said, what's the roster crunch at? If that's the thing. I'm not sure where the roster crunch is at. I think, are they at 39?
I think they're at 39.
39. Is there anybody kind of on that 40-man roster that you could see exiting? I know Michael Grove's a name that people like to talk about. Is there anybody still on the 40-man roster that you could see exiting for another player that they could bring in from the outside?
I mean, I could see Grove going. Let me pull up the roster. It's tough because a lot of the guys are going to need to go on the 60-day, and that can't happen until spring training. So they don't have too many options. Hunter Fiducia could get DFA'd or something. I don't think they'd hate losing him. But yeah, it's a pretty full group right now. I don't see anyone that comes to mind until they can put guys on the 60-day.
And they just protected Jack Dreyer. Yeah. Yep.
Like it's Grove, Outman, Chris Taylor, or Fiducia are the last guys on, basically. So yeah,
who would be the surprise? Who would be the surprise? It would have to be Chris Taylor, right?
Yeah,
I don't see that happening.
Depending on what they need the roster space. It could happen.
Really? All right. Keep an eye out for it.
Nobody likely, but
nobody hit Blake with like he Blake with his hot take on Chris Taylor. It's just it's possible. It's possible.
I would say like a 40% chance.
If it gets pressed, like if it gets pressing need and you don't want to give up and you don't want to just say pull the plug on Outman, you don't want to pull the plug on some of the other guys with a lot more control. I understand where you're coming from there. Here's one. How long do the Dodgers wait until they re-sign Kike?
Spring training. We just talked about their roster crunch. I think they could make a trade though. If they move Outman, Fiducia, Grove, etc. in a deal, like then you're opening up some spots. You don't have to get a ton of value back for them.
Yeah.
Like that could happen and help out. I would be surprised if something like that doesn't happen. I'd be shocked if Fiducia isn't traded at some point. Maybe Cartaya. So they're going to find a way to create some room. But I would say guys like Kike and Kershaw are going to be signed more towards spring training.
Let's see. So they've got 39. We need 2 spots, Blake. Or, one spot. Teoscar and either Tanner Scott or Devin Williams. Who's the one?
Well, if they get Devin Williams, you're probably trading a roster piece back in that deal.
Trading a major league player there. That's where your thing's going to happen from.
But either way, like I think
James Outman, Gavin Lux, get ready to learn Milwaukee. Not Gavin Lux. James Outman, get ready to learn Milwaukee.
I mean, sure. I would be shocked if Fiducia isn't traded. Grove kind of on the fence is a guy they could DFA or trade. I think they'd also like to keep him around, but it's like a roster number game. You only have so many spots, so it gets tough.
Yeah, no doubt. That's the thing people don't really think about. They're like, yep, but if your roster, your 40 man's up against a crunch, you got to really, dig into it. Who can you outright? Who can you get out? Who can you DFA? And who's going back? They will ask for major league talent. I think so, unless maybe they don't. Maybe they shock us. Maybe they don't, Blake. It would be surprising to have Devin Williams leave your team and to not want anything that can help contribute immediately.
Yeah, and even if they don't, I think the Dodgers would make them take someone like Fiducia.
Yeah. Here we go. All right. Roger, thanks for the question. What grade would you give the offseason if it ended with the only significant players as Blake Snell, Michael Conforto, and Sasaki?
I'd say like a B plus.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because if it's like Teoscar leaves, Conforto's a guy to bring in there. Blake Snell, you got arguably the number one starting pitcher on the market, and you got the number one international free agent for a bit.
They got Trinan back too, so
sure, yeah. I think he was saying if it's like hypothetical, if you're asking just those three, then sure. But if you add Trinan in there, I think it's still a B plus. I think it's still B plus.
You could probably make a case for a low A, but I think I'm saving the A for also getting like Tanner Scott and Teoscar Hernandez, like the range of outcomes that they could also end up doing.
Blake, let's be honest here, man. We're so spoiled. We're talking about my boys group chat is just, I'm insufferable in there when all these deals are happening. And I got a Brewers fan in there. I got a Diamondbacks fan in there, and they just do nothing. Talk about cutting payroll, getting rid of their star closer. Jordan Montgomery is that big signing there, and he's trash. So it's like embarrassment of riches over here. And you have the possibility where it's like Ken Rosenthal believes you're doing like Teoscar will be a Dodger, and you're getting one of Tanner Scott or Devin Williams. So yeah, it immediately goes into an A, unquestioned A, regardless, because the Dodgers do 10 times more than other teams in free agency and offseason and exploring stuff at the deadline. Gotta appreciate it. Yeah, Nomo, gotta appreciate it. Spoiled fans. But dynasty time. Building a dynasty. That's how it's happening. That's where we're focused on. All right. Nomo, what are the chances that Big Buster Posey overpays for Walker Buehler?
35%.
I know you don't care. I know you couldn't care less. But would that be a nightmare scenario, man, for Dodgers fans to see?
Probably.
Like 1,000%.
Yeah, but I don't think Buehler would go there because he's so focused on trying to win. Like the Giants aren't winning anytime soon. I don't think Willy Adames is pushing the needle all that much for them, as much as I like him as a player. Like they're just not set to win for quite a while. I don't think Buehler is going to want to go there unless it's a pretty significant overpay.
Yeah. He's a Met. Something tells me he's a Met. Mets are going to bring back Sean Manaea, bring in Walker Buehler. He's a Met. Yeah.
Scott wants Buehler on the Mets confirmed.
No, I think it'll be, I got to look at all the options, Blake. Don't act like you're not the only one who can't do that.
I would push back and say David Stearns is too smart to sign Walker Buehler.
Whatever. They can just eat the money, let it go. If he's bad, he's not. He's going to shove. Want to know why? My test. Matt, you watching tonight? Told me so.
I don't think Matt's here. You haven't got any comments.
Unbelievable. Sick. I saved that one all show just for that. 2,000 in the chat. What's up, guys? We appreciate you. Couple more here. What do we got? Give me a good one. Oh,
and we just got a huge super chat.
Right Field Pavilion. Great to see you. Thanks for supporting us this offseason. $50. Thank you, man. My buddy was at the Grove today and saw Roki Sasaki taking pics with some fans. Not major news, but I'm glad he's enjoying SoCal. Keep up the great work, fellas. # Go Dodgers. Man, we appreciate you. Keep up the great work yourself, supporting us all season, all off season, all the regulars. Thank you so much. Roki Sasaki, big Southern California guy. Probably went to Erewhon. Probably enjoyed himself a D'Angelo Russell smoothie. You do that today, buddy?
Huh? I did not. I went to Erewhon. I walked in for the first time the other day after going to golf because I went with some of our friends and one of them wanted to go pick up the the Kim Kardashian ice cream or whatever they just came out with.
Sounds crazy.
Idea. Like it's like banana and strawberry, but
Sounds great.
he paid $11 for the little container of ice cream. And I was just walking around looking at prices on things, and I'm like, this store could only exist in Los Angeles. Like, there's no chance that store is existing anywhere else.
You
And
frequent if it was in Disneyland, you'd have no problem with it.
no,
You would say yes,
Disneyland
you
food
would.
is affordable.
You'd say
Disneyland
prices
food is
are
not like
on
that.
point. $11 for a
No.
small thing, you'd be like locked in,
Erewhon is
baby.
insane. No, nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Cover your ears, Blake. I'm coming after it. Coming after the
Disneyland has
big bad mouse.
Disneyland is affordable food pricing overall compared
Give
to
me your money.
Erewhon.
Like,
Okay, but yeah, no Erewhon, ridiculous
Yeah.
place.
yeah. Roki Sasaki, Southern California guy. We love it. Yeah,
I believe their agency is in LA, so he was flying out to meet with Joel Wolf and all that. So yeah, I don't. If anyone's like looking at this and saying like, yeah, he's coming to LA for the Dodgers and all that, just his agent's here, and it was supposed to happen where he'd come meet with teams. I believe Juan Soto met with teams in the first round in LA also, and now he's in New York, so that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Common, I got him. I got him. Once I went after the mouse, over with. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like they've got some unbelievable stuff there. I was mad I missed the Jack Flaherty smoothie. That would have been probably amazing. Probably good. No?
That's fun.
I mean, if you just hit them up and you want to collab with Erewhon, people will buy it just off the name value. Yeah. All right. Matty Man, does Blake hate Walker Buehler or what? They keep baiting you in on this, and Blake's gonna take the bait every single time. You can literally just say, I plead the fifth or no comment. I won't, yeah.
But I don't hate Walker Buehler. He's a really smart
just
pitcher.
realistic
He's a
on
great
him.
interview. Like, I just try and take fandom out of things when I'm talking about roster decisions and all that, and sometimes the truth is a little harder.
Yeah. Common, I can do a lot of funny impression voices, but I don't want to get DMCA'd. I don't want to get this, taken down here. I should have gone into voice acting, stuff like that. Chat, couple more. I got time. I gotta hit the gym. But all the support tonight, guys. I can't tell you how much I look forward to these. When it's one day a week, I look forward to hopping on here and talking to Blake, talking to all of you. Thankful that Ken Rosenthal gave us some heat this morning, gave us some hope that yes, the Dodgers are continuing to add, and they're aiming to add. And the front office, for as many years as we've wanted them to provide us kind of with a blueprint, kind of a push to what their plans are, they're going to keep adding. They're definitely going to keep adding here. So a couple more questions, and then we'll hop out of here.
Super chat.
Yeah. You love El Pollo Loco, man.
I do love El Pollo Loco. El Pollo Loco is great.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Underrated. Underrated for sure. What's the most overrated?
Burger King.
Burger King.
Burger King.
People highly regard Burger King?
Yes.
BK. Like, people highly rate Burger King? No way. Kenny, I never skip leg day. I never skip leg day in my entire life. In my entire life. But yeah, people overrate burger or like have Burger King in their tops. No chance, right?
I mean, it's still open everywhere. You don't see Burger King's closing down.
I thought you were gonna just say like In-N-Out's overrated. I thought you were gonna just hit everybody with that.
I had In-N-Out for dinner.
W.
But
yeah,
number one fast food.
Yeah, Burger King's not on anyone's radar, man. No chance. I used to have that when I was a kid when they were giving away Pokemon stuff. I've got a ton of that, like those giveaways, all over the place. I still got them. I've got Pokemon giveaways from Burger King still in the wrappers. Like nobody dox me. Like there's a lot of money in those. Blake, don't dox me, man. There's a lot of value there. Raising Cane's most overrated. Facts.
We're banning common sense.
The most overrated place ever. Insane.
The question was the best place outside of In-N-Out and El Pollo Loco, though.
The best place. I mean, Chick-fil-A would be nothing without sauce, but it's really good. Really good. Honestly, underrated one is Jack in the Box, man. Very
They got
underrated.
rid of the thing I like the best there, so I can't give them any credit.
What's that?
The chicken tater melt.
What in the world?
It was chicken, hash browns, bacon, ranch, and cheese on a croissant.
That
And
sounds
they got rid
crazy.
of it. It was so good.
Oh my God, Aldo.
That's it.
Yep. Guess what? I still got all those. I've got like 13 of them. Yep. All in wrappers. Yep. I'm cooking tonight. This has been spammed a bunch. Scott asked Blake why he isn't a Red Sox fan. Don't get me started on the Red Sox.
Scott is a Red Sox fan.
I'll say it. I'm a closet. I got a little soft spot for the Red Sox. I was watching the documentary on Netflix last night. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Lost Dodgers World Series champs. What are you going to do about it? 04 Sox, one of the best love stories ever. Ever. All right. This is crazy. You guys got me to talk about food. This is nuts. I'm fuming. Rich, reason to sign Walker Buehler, reasons not to. Reasons to sign him? You want me to take those? No.
Sure.
No, we're going to flip this. You're going to give the reasons why you should sign Walker Buehler, and I'll give the reasons why you wouldn't.
He has cemented himself into Dodger hero / legend status, a fan favorite. He's been an ace in the past, and hopefully you can unlock that again and get him back on track.
Yeah.
There's a reason to believe he could be a solid pitcher if he goes sinker cutter and drops the fastball and brings the fastball back in just October when the weather gets colder. Curveball still look good. Intriguing there, a playoff performer.
Everybody clip that and just post it to Blake. All right. Reasons not to. Walker Buehler's success was limited to, I would say, essentially a few outings this last year, and then a 10-inning stretch in October of some of the best baseball we've seen from him in years, right? And you got to see that fire, but it's not guaranteed to continue. And it's not guaranteed that if another team not named the Dodgers is able to continue that same success that he had, it's not guaranteed. Lance Brzezowski spoke on, the shape of Walker Buehler's fastball not being able to be replicated once it goes to a regular season if he changes organizations there. So there's definitely some pause that the grass might not be always greener. If he leaves, if he gets the bag, then he probably couldn't care less, but he wants to succeed. He wants to perform. But the reasons why you would do it is because it has like a slippery slope of being a quality arm with the upside of being a front end guy in October. But the really bad thing is what he was in the regular season with the Dodgers is just an unknown commodity now. The variance is way too great. Everything's got to click. And that's what we talked about. It's just remarkable that he was able to lock it in for the postseason. But if it's bad, it could be really bad. Oh, Rich, that hurt. That was a tough exercise for me to do it. You saw the pain in my face, like you could slowly see his, his heart shattering right there. You see that? That was hard. Yeah.
Good job.
Rich, thanks for that, man. Yeah, Pin Sanity, he needs a prove it deal. He does. I think he does.
That's the problem. He needs a prove it deal, and he's going to get like a 3 or 4 year deal from another team paying him $20+ million a year.
Yeah. And I hope he's worth every penny. He gets a chance to perform because that's where he's at his best. All right. I think that's it. There we go.
I thought there was one more or something that I bookmarked that was good.
Oh, you faved? There's a couple. You got a couple funny ones here. Stein Stealing. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for being active on Twitter as well. When does Kenley return? 2025, 26, or 27?
2026.
Oh, God. What is his option? What is his role then? Ambassador to the Dodgers or reliever?
He'll take the Daniel Hudson role of being the grizzled old veteran in the clubhouse that they all look up to and rely on. And he gets some high leverage innings, but not totally all them. And probably spend some time on the IL.
One-day contract to retire as a Dodger. Yeah. You guys are funny, man. You guys are funny. I mean, look, do you think Kenley would be okay coming back as not a closer? Just pitching
probably
anywhere?
With a ring. I think.
Do you think he'd be successful? Do you think he'd be successful?
I think he'd adapt and figure it out.
Do you think he'd still be able to perform one more year down the road? Because he's not coming this year.
Maybe.
Is that
Well,
enough for you to be like, come on, was it 74? Is that what he wore? 74?
yeah.
Come on, 74, bring it home.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to give a player a one-year deal and see what they can do. Like, sure.
You guys are so funny. Chad, you guys are comedy tonight. All-timer. All-timer. You guys are one of the best tonight. So if you're listening on post VOD, unfortunate that you couldn't join the live show, but thanks for tuning in. You guys are hilarious today. I got one more. Shota says, should the player pay for their own suite? Because
Yeah.
isn't that what the like a hold up with the Yankees? Explain
Yeah.
this real quick. I feel like you know more than I do.
Yeah, so Juan Soto ended up getting a suite for his family guaranteed from the Mets for every home game. And the Yankees were not willing to do that because Aaron Judge doesn't have one and Derek Jeter didn't get one. So they had to pay for the suites when they wanted it. I believe the Dodgers put a suite in for Shohei into their contract. So some players and teams do it, some don't. Like for me personally, if you're a player and a team's willing to offer it, take it. Awesome. I think it would be nice for your family. And from all indications, Soto is a big family guy and cares like about that kind of stuff. He wanted his family to have a suite. He wanted that he got security from the Mets for his family specifically. So like, yeah, if a team's willing to offer it, awesome. I think it's ridiculous for like the Mets or the Yankees to say like we're going to offer you 760 million, but
No
we
suite.
also want you to pay like 500,000 for the suite or whatever. Like if you're at that point, just give them the suite. The Yankees seem like they still very much live in the past. Like we know they have the facial
Thank
hair
you.
rule.
Yep. We're
But
just gonna go there.
like they also did the thing they missed out on Yamamoto kind of because they wouldn't pay him more than what Garrett Cole's getting because they didn't
Yep.
want to like upset that. And like I don't know, the Yankees they're trying to still be like the team
The
that they used to
pinstripes.
be.
The big bad Yankees.
They're just not that anymore. The Mets kind of run New York now.
They're not the 90s Steinbrenner Yankees anymore. They're not respecting the pinstripes. Like that's not happening, man. Stuck in the past. Look what they did to your boy. Look what they did to Joey Gallo. Look what they did to him.
They ruined
Sleepless
it.
nights, cold sweats. I got calls, guys. I got calls every couple hours because of this. He was infuriated. He couldn't believe that they made Joey Gallo shave. And I had to field those calls. I had to pick up, hello? Blake, I couldn't even hear him.
That shaving rule is the most ridiculous thing in sports. Like
It's
Max
just
Fried,
crazy.
Max Fried's not gonna have his mustache anymore. He's gonna have to shave. Like, yeah. I don't know. Teoscar probably ruled them out. He's not shaving.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
What a ridiculous
day.
franchise, man.
It's a good new day. Yeah. It's definitely a new day. Chat, we appreciate you. We're going to sign off. We'll see you soon. I hope that some news breaks here in the next couple of days so we can hop back on and do this and have some fun here. We'll talk to the suits, see what we can coordinate, see if we can get back on here. Chat, again, hats off to you. You guys were a big part of it today. So Blake, I know he appreciates it too. Last words, man, and we'll send us home.
Last words.
Yeah. What do you got?
Teoscar is signing within the next 3 days. That's my last words.
Tanner Scott. That's the guy?
Yeah, Tanner Scott soon.
Tanner Scott, Teoscar Hernandez, Los Angeles Dodgers. Gonna keep an eye out. I'll call you when it happens. We'll be here. Chat, we appreciate you. My name is Scott Geirman, senior writer, Dodger Blue, managing editor, hardest working guy I know, Blake Williams. We'll see you all soon. Hit the like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll talk to you soon. As always, guys, go Dodgers 2024 World Series champs. We'll talk soon. Later, everybody.